You could spend a lifetime, folks, prayerfully considering every single line of that first reading we had this morning. And you see, everybody, what St. Paul is getting at is the importance of seeing the world through the Holy Spirit. It's the only true way of living and understanding the world, ourselves, and those around us. Because, see, folks, the Holy Spirit is what enables you and me to see what is true and what is really, really good. The true reality around us, either in people around us, as St. Paul says, or to be able to judge the value of everything. In other words, discernment. True judgment, folks, is about uncovering what is true. Okay? That's how we discern. That's how we advance in the spiritual life of knowing what is true. And the Holy Spirit opens our minds and our hearts to what is good and true, to those good things that come from God. And that's what we follow. We follow what God nourishes in us, because He constantly breathes new life in you. This is why, St. John Chrysostom, he once said that God gave us our mind, okay, so that we might learn and gain His help. Because the mind by itself is not sufficient. That's what the church has always preached and taught. It's faith and reason, not reason alone or faith alone. It's both and. He also said that our eyes are beautiful, okay, and useful, but without light, they profit us nothing. Which is a really good line. And it's the same with our souls, everybody. If we choose to see without the Holy Spirit in our lives, well, then our own souls are going to become an impediment to us. Folks, you cannot call on the Holy Spirit enough every day of your life. No matter what activity you're doing, constantly call the Holy Spirit. No matter what activity it is. Because in doing so, He'll protect your mind and your heart and your activity from the influence of the evil spirit. That's why in our time, folks, we live in a time of immense spiritual confusion. I mean, in all honesty, how many Christians truly call on the Holy Spirit each day as much as they can? First thing in the morning, last thing before you close your eyes to go to sleep at night. How many truly do that? To nourish what we've been given at baptism, how many really do that? And as a church, and especially as spiritual fathers and leaders, can we honestly say we teach spiritual things spiritually? I'm not so sure anymore. Have we helped the faithful put on God's armor, that you can navigate life as best you can while defending yourself from the influence of real evil? I don't think so. I think we've become overly culturally welcoming and are bent on social project managements only, it seems. Not good. Rather than being attentive to the Holy Spirit that we've been given at baptism in our lives, and to teach the spiritual things that need to be taught, and to help other people discern what is good and what is evil. Be able to judge what comes from God and what does not come from God. We've become so spiritually confused to the point where, like I said, a lot of people, they struggle to discern what is evil and what's good. To the point where nowadays we're starting to call evil good and good evil. Really dangerous waters. That's why one of the greatest issues of folks that we face is an over-tolerance on spiritualities, an over-tolerance on religions. Okay? Where it's like we go into whatever we're doing in our lives, spiritually wise, it's like going into a sweet shop and we're picking and mixing a little bit from that spirituality. I'm sure I'll take a little bit from that religion as well. That's spiritually dangerous. Very, very dangerous. And I think this has absolutely decimated the spiritual life of so many of our faithful and the lives of priests. And like I said, folks, since I've come here, one of the aspects of my time here has been to deal with quite a lot of people who have really opened their lives to really dangerous spiritual doors, that have allowed the enemy real influence in their lives where they're at now breaking point, physically and psychologically at breaking point. And that's the goal of the evil spirit, to break you down, make you give up on life, give up on what you are worth and what is true. A love of life, what is true, and your worth in the eyes of God. Those are the three beautiful gifts the Holy Spirit feeds in you. And if you don't feed that, folks, it will diminish and it'll be replaced by something else. That's why, 99% of those I minister to, religious intolerance is at the heart of what's going on in their lives. And once the demonic has a foothold, he blinds you, confuses you with regard to what is true. And of course, then that has an absolute massive knock-on to your moral life. Remember, folks, the enemy, as St. Paul says, appears as the angel of light. What is welcoming, what is harmless or fun. To be so careful. That's why, to constantly invite the Holy Spirit into your life and to have a solid prayer life every day if you can is crucial, especially in these times of spiritual confusion and over-tolerance that blinds us to the truth and to the things of Jesus Christ. That's why, folks, the Lord's Spirit gives you the tools that you need in this life and the authority to defend yourself from real evil. I mean, look at the gospel today. Jesus, he reveals his power in dramatic fashion, obviously. And he's not like the teachers of the law. He's not like a professor or some wandering teacher who delivers the opinions of other people. No, he speaks with authority, first and foremost. True spiritual authority. And so authoritative that the demonic spirits have no choice but to obey Christ. Why? Because the voice of Jesus is the sound of the Holy Spirit. And that is extraordinary power of the Lord. Evil hates objective truth and anyone who speaks of it. The Holy Spirit, folks, is the spirit of what is true from God. Opens your mind, who opens your heart to the things of God. And also, like I said, defends you from evil spirits. And folks, that's what you're given at baptism. You're given that power at baptism. Don't waste it. Nourish it. Feed it with prayer, faith, and sacraments, because your souls do depend on it.